The Dogs, in association with the British Greyhound Racing Board.
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Dogs. The William Hill Northumberland Plate has a special place in the calendar. It's the only open race handicap. We've got a cracking card from Brough Park and a particularly good final. It's all coming up in the show.
Also in this week's programme, a visit to newly appointed Coventry trainer Paul SALLIS. Will it be the Guys or the Dolls victorious at Crayford? And the semi-finals of the Keith Swain Manchester Puppy Cup, which will prove invaluable for finding the eventual winner.
Sky cameras rolled into Newcastle for the William Hill Northumberland Plate final, and viewers around the country as well as those at the track were treated to some cracking racing, which kicked off with Head Lad winning the sprint for Mark and Hayley Keithley. The Keithleys also had Roxholm Silks on the card, warming up for the All England Cup with a clash against, among others, Yarmouth and Scottish Derby finalist Belle Devotion. Punters couldn't split Roxholm Silks or Belle Devotion's 7-4 joint favourites. They went off with Ryan Crew Stevie third in at 7-2.
And we're off and racing, and away they come, and Roxholm Silks just edging away from the fence on the run up. 5 Maraschinos there, and now coming through. Belle Devotion looking for racing room. They sort themselves out down the far side, and it's Maraschino just ahead of Roxholm Silks now, who accelerates and goes on. Up in the second, Ryan Crew Stevie, and then further back is Belle Devotion. They're at the home turn now, and Roxholm Silks by a couple of lengths being chased by Belle Devotion, who's got work on, and down the lane they come, and it's Roxholm Silks who's going to the line in front. Roxholm Silks from Belle Devotion, and South Lodge Pete was back in third.
Roxholm Silks impresses with a very useful 28.30, winning by 2 1/4 lengths, and goes straight into the notebook for the All England Cup. 2 other big race hopefuls also clashed on the night. Blonde Boss, trained by Charlie Lister, running out of 1, and Go Commando, winner of the Jim Crack at Hall Green, running out of 2. The pair dominated the market, with Blonde Boss just preferred at 6-4, ahead of Go Commando at 2-1. Recent Kent Derby winner Monera Spark also had his supporters from Track 4.
And they're off and racing, and away they come here, sorting order. Blonde Boss got away just ahead of Go Commando, who's now come through. And then Delwood Otis is trying to get a position on the outside, just got pushed away as Blonde Boss regains second. Go Commando driving down the far side here. The Jim Crack winner is chased by Blonde Boss, who's coming after him in second. A gap developing back to Delwood Otis, and then further back Cole Town's boy. Here's the home turn, very wide Blonde Boss here, and it's Go Commando in front. Blonde Boss is coming back at him, but it's in front to Go Commando from Blonde Boss, and they were clear of Delwood Otis in third.
Go Commando was just a half a length quicker than Roxholm Silks, and winner and second in both four-bend races could easily have a say in the William Hill All England Cup. Heats and semi-final are live on Channel 425 starting this week, with the final live on Sky Sports on Tuesday week. But the Northumberland Plate, a handicap event with 6 separate traps used, was the night's centrepiece. Racing off the back from scratch was DROOPYS Sporty, whose 2005 has already been spiced by a victory in the Cock of the North at Bellevue. She was just favourite with the bookies at 9-4, ahead of heat winners Tino Spark, Lundhill Flash and Ballyheafy Lass, who was running off the front off of 8 metres with local Harvey Is Back.
And the hare is on his way for the William Hill Northumberland Plate final. £5,000 up for grabs, and they race away. Harvey Is Back in front early, tackled by Ballyheafy Lass as they take the first bend. Immediately forges to the front, then Lundhill Flash has made good headway to split greyhounds. Down on the inside is Tino Spark, who took a slight nudge as DROOPYS Teddy moves up, and Sporty has got to go by them all with a lap to run. In front, the local Harvey Is Back. He leads by a length and a half again from Ballyheafy Lass. They're 2 or 3 lengths clear of Lundhill Flash, and then Tino go Spark and Droopys Teddy and Droopys Sporty. Still Harvey is back. The locals have got the leader in front here as they turn for home. Ballyheafy-Lass is closing, and then Lunrill Flash, they're coming down the lane. Harvey is back, tackled again by Ballyheafy-Lass. Ballyheafy-Lass tackled late by Droopys Sporty. It's very tight. Ballyheafy-Lass and Droopys Sporty in a photo.
Hats off to the handicapper, or handicap panel in this case. The first 5 home almost covered by a blanket. With victory and a great trophy going to the connections of the Lenny Troughton train, Ballyheafy-Lass.
Crayford and one of their feature events of the year, the Countrywide Steel and Tube Guys and Dolls final. Lens and Ace, who won the Guys semi in 23-14, was the 5-4 favourite, drawn in Trap 1. They're off and running up towards the first bin. Oh, trouble on the inside there. Lens and Ace was involved. Thank You Madam broke well in 5. Here comes Droopy Sonic around the outside to take over. Lens and Ace is not too far away in third. After this comes 4. That's Blue Town Prince. As they come down towards the second last bend, Thank You Madam back in front though. Leading around the third bend. Lens and Ace is now improving, but it's Thank You Madam that's going to win the Guys and Dolls. Lens and Ace in second, and Droopy Sonic was third. A great win for Thank You Madam, recording 23.38. Trained by Graham Brabham, she may go to the Tote Sport London Scurry during the Racing Post Festival at Walthamstow. Before that, she no doubt will cross swords with the runner-up, Seamus Carhill's Lens and Ace, in the Flying 4.
Well, certainly a 4-dog race would probably suit him. I wouldn't mind being drawn in the middle, you know, in a 4-dog race. He might break better from there, but yeah, it'd be a good race, I'd imagine. You know, a 4-bend race is probably an ideal race around Crayford rather than a 6-dog race. And yeah, we'd be looking, you know, thinking we'd have a reasonable chance anyway. If he gets selected for it, first of all, and yes, it's by invitation, the Flying 4, so we'll see what'll happen. And down the line, he'll probably go over the hurdles. He's had 1 or 2 spins over the hurdles, so he'll probably, but whether you get 460 over the hurdles remains to be told, really. But he will be aimed at the Springbok if he's good enough.
Kennel companion Druids Mickey Joe won the Springbok this year. We asked Seamus for the latest on his star hurdler.
He has a kind of a busy schedule ahead now, hopefully avoiding injury and things like that. He did clip his leg off the last hurl at Reading. And he's a wee bit sore now, but we're hopeful that he'll be all right for Romford on Tuesday week. And then he has a fairly heavy schedule, all being well, from there on the English Grand National, Irish Grand National and Walthamstow Racing Post beaten. So that's the aim anyway, but you know, these things don't always work out as you'd like, so we'll just take it race by race.
Well, a very busy schedule for Druids Mickey Joe, who was beaten by his little brother Sizzler's Bossman in front of the Sky cameras recently at Hall Green. We asked Seamus who he most feared out of the current crop of hurdlers.
Certainly Sizzler's Bossman is a very, very good dog, and you'd have to fear him when he's right. I think he's just off at the moment, but I'm sure he'll be back for the Grand National, and I'd say it'd be a few hectic battles between the two of them. And I'd imagine whatever I'd lead around the first, second bend, it'd win. You know, over 460 definitely, but I don't think there'd be any dog at beat out over 460 once he get a decent run early. But if Sizzler's Bossman was to do what he done at Hall Green, well then we'd be playing second fiddle to him.
A mouth-watering William Hill Grand National begins on Tuesday the 11th of October at Wimbledon, with the final live on Sky Sports on Tuesday the 25th of October. Coming up after the break, we're off to the countryside to visit trainer Paul SALLIS. Well, welcome back to part 2 of the Dogs, and we begin with a look back at a couple of races from Walthamstow, starting with the Star Racing Maiden, an eye-catching performance from a newcomer to these shores called Droopys Mucky Duck. Sent off the 5-2 joint favourite, just moved right out of the boxes from Trap 4, but showed good early pace to the bend, a long run of course to the bend here at Walthamstow, and went on to score in a fabulous time, 28.67. So what do we know about this fellow? He's trained by John Coleman. He's recorded 28.87 over at Shelbourne Park, but he's well related. He's out of Droopy's Kristen, That means he's related to Droopys Carhill and Skulls and Belle Devotion, a name to conjure with in future opens, Droopy's Mucky Duck. The track was actually 20 spots slow, so a calculated 28.47, beating A1 performer a bit tricky. Well, on to the feature on the night, the Star Racing Puppy Stakes final, where the Paul Sallis trained Driving Up Bubba in Trap 2 was sent to the traps as the 5-4 favourite. Ernie Gaskin's Dark Thunder was second favourite. And they're off and racing up towards the first bend. A good start from Driving Up Bubba along with Horseshoe Hero there on the inside. Then comes Dark Thunder racing on the outside in 5. That had to check there as they go down the far side, and Driving Up Bubba with a lead of half a length. Oh, terrible trouble for the favourite. Driving Up Bubba in trouble there. And 5 Dark Thunder goes on now. Here comes 6 Cherry Sparkler up in the second, and after these comes 1 Horseshoe Hero. They come round the final bend, and Dark Thunder, the second favourite, out in front, but Cherry Sparkler's closing. It's tight, just Dark Thunder. Yes, a short head between them in the end. Dark Thunder winning for Ernie Gaskin in 29.27, but what an unlucky favourite, Driving Up Bubba.
Just 50 miles up country from Walthamstow are the kennels of Paul Sallis. Paul's a young trainer who's sending out plenty of winners from a new setup near Leighton Buzzard.
I've been up here a couple of years now. Peter Bates, the owner, he gave me the opportunity, bought the place, and he's been a great backer for me here. He's bought some nice dogs, and it's given me a good start, and a couple of owners have come up from Brighton way and put a few dogs with me, and I've collected a few owners up this way. So, and I've got a nice bunch of owners. They're good people, very supportive, and they know we're enthusiastic and where we're trying to go. So, they're right behind us all.
Paul's partner and assistant trainer is Esther Driver, a former BGRB Kennel Hand of the Year, who, like Paul, used to be based down at Brighton. The Sallis team is completed by another South Coast exile, Emma Old, and a trainer of the future here in the shape of young Henry, Paul and Esther's son. It's a top team with some cracking dogs, and was kick-started by the open race efforts of Driving Up Rob, seen here racing from Trap 2 and leading in a heat of the Birmingham Cup. He also reached the Eclipse final at Nottingham for Sallis.
Yeah, Driving Up Rob he was our flagship from the beginning. We bought him. We didn't pay a lot of money for him. He won his first 2 races at Nottingham in unraced puppy stakes up there. He ran well. We thought, we got a tidy dog here. We've had a lot of fun with him. He's been brilliant. He'll run through a brick wall for you. You know what you get with the dog. He's a fantastic little dog. If he gets his box, if he gets on the bunny, I've never seen a dog go past him yet when he's led. He's beaten all. Droopy Shearer was probably his biggest scalp at Nottingham in the Eclipse semi-final. It's probably that's probably his best race. He's won a lot of races for us.
The kennel's current flag bearer is Driving Up Bubba, who was particularly unlucky in the Stow final.
Nice puppy, absolute bang railer, as you've probably seen on the telly. He's been unfortunate. He's had what was called a couple of middle runners inside him. To be fair, he was absolutely desperate in the Walthamstow puppy final last week, which was obviously disappointing for us. But we got him home in one piece anyway. It was quite nasty. The dog jumped over the back of him, but yeah, he's in one piece. So we're thankful for that, but he's come on a bundle. He won an open at round Milton Keynes. He'd done a good time. He's a fair dog. I'm quite excited about him. He could, if he goes the right way, he could be our derby dog for next year. So we'll probably run him at Romford, and then lay him off through the winter, and then bring him back, give him a few runs around Wimbledon, see how he handles that. We're going to look after him, and give him a good shot at something next year. But he's a lovely looking dog and strong. You never know. He might even stay a little bit further later on. He could be a nice dog for somewhere like Hove or something. Later on. So, because obviously looking at his back straight pace, it's awesome. Really, he took lengths out of good dogs at Walthamstow when he finally got clear. But we're excited about him.
So maybe the first dog to do the Arc Derby double then?
Absolutely. Why not? Why not?
2005 started well for Sallis, with Driving Up Rob winning races and Stormy Bill also impressing judges. He's chasing home BALLYMAC Perez here during the Ladbroke Midland Puppy Derby at Monmore and kept Sallis very busy on the open race scene.
Yeah, I love open racing. It's really what I'd love to do. Just do open racing really. But yeah, I do get a thrill from that. It's good. We've had over 40 open race winners this year. We lost Stormy Bill, which was a big blow for the kennel. Obviously, he would have racked up a few wins for us, but obviously having Rob out for the start of the year, we've done well with what we've got. We won plenty of races, and most importantly, kept all the owners happy, which is the main thing. They pay our wages. So.
Because of your long history in the sport, there must be some open races where you're up against your old governors.
Yeah. I've run. We've had a few run against Wayne Wrighton and obviously Brian Clementson we've ran against before. But yeah, we don't think about that. Obviously we want to win. I don't think about who trains them and that. And we turned Charlie Lister over a couple of times, bless him. But yeah, Charlie's been great for us as well. He's been, he's always there for advice and that. And have to pick up the phone. He's a lovely fella, so it's nice to have him on board as well. If ever I need to chat to someone.
Sallis and his team put in the hard work required to keep a range of graded and open class racing dogs, but some cracking facilities at the kennels play their part, including this uphill gallop which Team Sallis are trained on. Having the facilities is one thing, the raw materials quite another. Other Sallis runners to keep an eye on are the four-bend runner Driving Up, who used to be known as Ted's Guest, the new kid on the marathon block, Gunner Black, plus two up-and-coming youngsters Driving Up West, and Keljo's Blondie, who might just have a tilt at the Maidens Derby at the Racing Post Festival at Walthamstow. They are looked after from dawn to dusk and beyond. Any trainer will tell you how important routine is, and a happy kennel produces results. So if 2005 has been a good year for Sallis, chances are that 2006 will also be. What events will he pinpoint next year?
Well, the Breeders' Produce would be a race we'd like to win. Obviously because we do our own pups here. One of my pups I actually own, I've actually picked a good one for once. He looks like he's going to be a nice dog. So I'll be quite hopeful for him for next year, Produce Stakes.
You going to tell us his name?
His name's Keljo Defoe, but to be fair, the others are not far behind him either. So it could be a good litter. To be honest, I could go up there with 6 or 7. So it'd be nice. But there's not a lot between all of them. But he looks the classy one out of the litter.
Sallis recently switched from Milton Keynes to Coventry and is very happy there. Commentary aside, what other tracks does he look forward to visiting?
Walthamstow's been nice lately anyway. We've been successful at so I think Driving Up Rob's won at about 10 different tracks, so he's been as I said before, he's been a good dog for us. But yeah, we go all over really. We win and lose at all tracks really. So but yeah, I obviously like Hove coming from down that way. That's my home track. That's a lovely track. So be nice to go down there and win one of their competitions one day. That'd be nice for me personally. So hopefully one day.
Well, a chance to catch up with some speedy youngsters at Bellevue in the Manchester Puppy Cup semi-finals over the new distance of 470 metres. In the first semi-final, RIEN for Mark Wallace was sent off favourite. They're off and running up towards the first bend. A good break from 2, Minnie's Hannah. Here comes RIEN though on this near side to take over. Good early pace. Quite a lot of trouble at the first bend. Rodalgo and Bailiff Diesel didn't get clear runs. Heading down the far side, and 6, RIEN leads the way down the back straight ahead of 1. Tullamore Breeze improved up into second. The others getting each other's way again at the third bend. So round the final turn, it's RIEN for Mark Wallace, leading up the home straight and going 2.5 lengths clear now from Tullamore Breeze. Back in third, Rodalgo. Or RIEN going on to score for Mark Wallace in 27.88, beating Tullamore Breeze, who missed his break, beating him 3 lengths in the end. Well, Charlie Lister had the favourite in the second semi-final, Fear Me. He was runner-up to Ronnie's champion in the Puppy Classic final at Nottingham recently. He also set new figures here at Bellevue for the distance in the heats of the competition. And off they go and racing up towards the first bend. Quite a level start, although 3. Gall Blescher's just leading. Here comes 1. Fear Me rushing through on the inside. Oh, there's mayhem there as 1. Fear Me moved off a little bit. 4. McCormick was badly balked. Gall Blescher got hampered as well. But meantime up front, Fear Me is streaking clear. Pinhead off in chasing 2. After these comes 6. Duel Nikita. They come around the final bend and it's all about Fear Me. An astonishing run. Great early pace. Bustled them up at the first bend and goes on to score. Duel Nikita back in second. And the time was even more impressive, 27.68, some 20 spots faster than RIEN. Fear Me, of course, taking a bump at the first bend. On to the third semi-final, and the favourite here was BALLYMAC DROOPYS in trap 6 for Carly Philpott, was beaten in the heats by GV, who lined up in trap 5. They're off and running up towards the first bend. Good break from 4, Nervous Robbie, but here comes the pace on the outside. 5 GV tracked by BALLYMAC DROOPYS. So they go around the bend, and what a second bend run there from BALLYMAC DROOPYS. Suddenly goes 2 lengths clear from 5 GV. After he's back in third comes 4, Nervous Robbie. There was a bit of bother on the inside as they come around the third bend. 6, BALLYMAC DROOPYS leading at this point, and leading by a length from 5 in second place, GV. Up towards winning line, BALLYMAC DROOPYS. GV's coming in. GV just fails. BALLYMAC DROOPYS wins for Carly Philpott. And the winning time there was 27.87 for BALLYMAC DROOPYS, beating GV by the minimum margin, a short head. Well, the Keith Swain Manchester Puppy Cup at Bellevue this Thursday, the final, £4,000 to the winner, and it looks as though it's going to go to Fear Me, beautifully drawn in trap 1. All coming up in the open race calendar, not only is the final of the Manchester Puppy Cup taking place this Thursday at Bellevue, but there's also the first round heats of the All England Cup from Brough Park. On Friday, Hall Green staged the first round heats of the Breeders' Forum Produce Stakes. The place to be on Saturday is Walthamstow for the final of the Victor Chandler Grand Prix. Whilst on Sunday, there's plenty of opens as per usual from Coventry, Rye House and Sittingbourne. For all the latest results, visit our website, thedogs.co.uk, and don't forget, if you love your greyhounds, you must stay tuned to Sky during October.
The Dogs, in association with the British Greyhound Racing Board.